Wonderful. One thing it just occurred to me to say before I introduce our next act, who is our wonderful, hilariously funny cabaret. Yeah. Get you a little jazz. It occurred to me, was anybody in Simcha Daniel's session about Israel today? Wow. It was amazing and powerful, and it made me think of a story I heard about a regular, older, good old American Jew who was almost on their deathbed, his deathbed, and asked his sons to take him to Israel to be buried. And they took him to Jerusalem, and he was in the hospital there, and miraculously, very wonderful doctors in Israel, he began to get better and better, and within a very short amount of time, he was full of life again. And he called his sons, and he said, "Bring me home, quickly, to America." And his sons were really actually somehow quite disappointed. And they said, "But we don't understand. You made us rush you to Israel, and we don't understand. Don't you want to be there?" And he said, "Israel was such a wonderful place." He said, "Sure, to die, but to live here?" So now that I got them warmed up for you, Chava!
It's an apple struggle.
Where's your Peter?
There you go.
No.
We just keep.
Oh, you're messing up my film here. Okay.
Feels farther away.
Much farther.
But you can see her.
Listen closer.
But you can see her now. You know, friends, I was telling the people back home in our tiny little town that I was going to a conference on the changing role of Jewish clergy, and they were asking whether we were changing from Hamantashen to bagels. I didn't quite understand what
Changing role.
It's percentage humor. 60 to 70.
Okay, so beloved, it's been a really rough few months leading up to coming here with the election and so much strife, and so I wanted to just ask for these few minutes to announce some really good news, and that is that my life with Carl Hockman Bailey, my wonderful husband, is being made into a musical. Now, some of you know I grew up on the mean streets of near Detroit, of Oak Park, with kosher bakeries, Jewish bookstores, a little American shtetl where the whole family lived nearby and in each other's business. The story of our musical centers around my decision to go north. No, north. To go north. To the little town of Sutton's Bay, where I met Carl Bailey and found true love. Now, Carl's family's original name was not Bailey, it was Balafjord, but they changed it at Ellis Island because it sounded too Jewish. So the love that I found, as some of you know, is 6.5 feet tall, and there are indications that there was blonde hair at another time. And when we were dating, I'll be totally honest, we used to go to a certain spot in a park in a little area near our house, and we'd go parking together. And every now and again, Carl would say to me, "Do you want to get in the back seat?" And I don't know. And, you know, we'd do it again, and then he'd say, "Do you want to get in the back seat?" And I'd say no. And then we went on a third date, and he asked me again, and I said, "I don't understand why you keep asking me to get in the back seat. I want to stay up here with you." Through a very brief, ugly period of trying to blend with my people. I come from traditional people, and he tried to blend with us for a while. And for those of you who have met him, you know how ridiculous this is at 6.5 feet tall and blonde-haired, blue-eyed. And the first time he came to Passover, it was like, midget, 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 giant midget. All these things is not like that. So that didn't go well. But I did take him to Oak Park because he had never been to a little Jewish shtetl. And I wanted to go into the Jewish bookstore, and he decided to go into the bagel store. And this happens to be a fairly orthodox little neighborhood, and when he went into the bagel place, and this is absolutely true, a little Orthodox man in a black suit and a black hat looked up at him, craning his neck to see my husband and said, "Sonny, Grosse Pointe is that way." So a lot of people are traditional and Orthodox for the most part, and Carl's people are Lutheran, and his people have been Lutheran for so long that they were Lutheran when Luther was still Catholic. His dad's family is Norwegian in origin, his mom's family is Swedish, so they had a mixed marriage like we do. And this was cause for no small amount of concern on the part of all of these parents at that time, because these two cultures didn't mix despite all being Lutheran. And it reminded us, of course, of the time that my Aunt Ethel, true story, brought home her intended, my Uncle Lane of blessed memory by marriage, and they were sort of quizzing him about his family, and when it came out that he was Catholic and not Lutheran, things got very frosty at the dinner table. And so they were trying to be really friendly, my grandparents-in-law, and they said, "Do you have any siblings?" And as a matter of fact, he did. He had a sister who was a sister. And so the family spent the rest of the evening speaking Yiddish. Swedish, but you get the point. So, in any event, we two met. I know I'm getting near my time. And our story is going to be made into a major musical called From Spola to Svenska. And it's about our efforts to blend our families, and the show is going to feature this fantastic musical number. Lutfisk China, all songs in A minor. My son's playing cello. Oh look, 6 colors of jello. Koshering dishes and church bells that ring. These are a few of our interfaith things. When we're schwitzing at the hymn sing, when we're interfaith, we simply remember that Hashem is one, and then we go eat some tray. So as you know, how the story ends, we were in fact married, and we had a wonderful wedding. We did all the Jewish stuff, and I asked my husband, what could we do from your tradition that would honor you? And he said, I don't know, how about an uncomfortable moment of silence? As you know, the Scandinavians are very interior people. They look down at their shoes a lot, and I knew he was my beshert because he was so outgoing that he looked at my shoes. And I will leave you with this thought. On our honeymoon, we were traveling toward Minneapolis, and now we were married, and Carl put his hand on my knee, and I sort of giggled, and I said, you know, honey, you can go a little farther if you want to. So he drove us to Duluth.
One more time. To be followed by someone who can actually follow her. It's on Steve Claiborne. Stories, songs, everything else that you can possibly imagine in the best possible way. Another DLTI. 5,
Military camp.
Well, I can bring you right down from that.
Bring us
That's easy.
down into the depths.
Good drag. Doesn't matter, I'm not reading anything anyway. So, no, I'm almost serious about that.
You want me to tell another joke?
No, yes. So I'm so used to doing high energy stuff that this isn't going to be it. So after that thing that happened at the beginning of November, I can barely even say the thing that happened. Yeah, it that shall not be named. If that wasn't injurious enough, I woke up the next morning and found that, one of the heroes of my turbulent youth, Leonard Cohen, was gone. Boy. He obviously couldn't take it. It was really at that time that I went into the closet and got the hat that I used to wear the year that I was saying Kaddish for my father, and I put it away because I wasn't going to shul all the time anymore. I figure I can't, write poems like Cohen, but I can wear the hat.
Yeah.
So I offer this for Eliezer ben Natan HaKohen. Zichrona Livracha. It's coming through a hole in the air from those nights down in Tiananmen Square. It's coming from this feel that this ain't exactly real, or it's real, but it ain't exactly there. From the wars against disorder to the sirens night and day, from the fires of the homeless, from the rising of the gay. Democracy is coming to the USA. It's coming from a crack in the wall, on a visionary flood of alcohol, from the staggering account of the Sermon on the Mount, which I don't pretend to understand at all. Got it. It's coming from the silence of the dock on the bay, from the brave, the bold, the battered-hearted Chevrolet. Democracy is coming to the USA. Sail on, oh mighty ship of state, to the shores of need, past the reefs of greed, through the shoals of hate. Sail on, sail on, sail on. Coming from the sorrow in the street, the holy places where the races meet, from the homicidal bitchin' that goes down in every kitchen to determine who will serve and who will eat, from the wells of disappointment where the women kneel to pray for the grace of God in the desert here and in the desert far away. Democracy is coming to the USA. It's coming to America first, the cradle of the best and the worst. It's here we got the range, the machinery for change, and it's here we got the spiritual thirst. It's here the family's broken, and it's here the lonely say, that our hearts have got to open in some fundamental way. Yeah, democracy is coming to the USA. Oh, yeah. Sail on, sail on, oh, mighty ship of state, to the shores of need, past the reefs of greed, to the shoals of hate. Sail on, sail on, sail on. I'm sentimental, if you know what I mean. I love my country, but I can't stand the scene. And I'm neither left nor right, but I'm staying home tonight, getting lost inside that hopeless little screen. But we're stubborn as those garbage bags that time cannot decay. We may be junk, but we're still holding up a little wild bouquet. That democracy is coming to the USA. Yeah, democracy is coming to the USA. Someday.
Clearly not what I was expecting, given that introduction, but absolutely. Well, some of us know each other in many capacities. We don't know all our other talents sometimes. And some of us have different incarnations in different lives. Some of us like to live many of our incarnations simultaneously rather than sequentially. And in this lifetime, Rabbinic Pastor Eve Ilsen also has an incarnation as a cabaret singer. She will be gracing us with a song accompanied by someone who also has an incarnation that we might not know about, and that is Rabbi Elise Seidner Joseph, is also a classical pianist. Amazing.
Yes. There's always the thing with the mic and the cord. No, I'm not ready. That's right. I wanted to tell you something about this song, because of course you will recognize where the melody first came from. It's Gershwin, and he had a sly sense of humor. But the thing about it ain't necessarily so. Is it only ain't necessarily so if you don't understand the nature of myth. I remember a wonderful story of one of my great teachers, the late Joseph Campbell, who was describing having an interview on the radio, I think in the Bay Area, and he sees his interviewer opening one of his books and leafing through it and looking obviously like he actually has never looked at the book before. And Joseph said, I knew this was not going to go well. And it did not go well. It started with, well, what is a myth? A myth is a lie, right? Yeah. And after 45 minutes of the interview, Joseph said, I really realized what the problem was. He did not know what the nature of myth was at all. He said, he runs like a deer. What is that? He says, well, that's a lie, right? And he says, no. He is a deer. That is myth. when the image really... However, if you don't know the nature of myth, then this song makes more and more sense. Yes. It ain't necessarily so. It ain't necessarily so. The things that you're liable to read in the Bible, they ain't necessarily so. Well, little David was small, but oh my. Yeah, David was small, but oh my. He fought big Goliath, who lay down and dieth. Well, David was small, but oh my. Why do? Sit down, boodle, who never wanna? Scallywag, yeah. Well, Jonah, he lived in a way. Yeah, Jonah, he lived in a way. Yeah, he made his home in that fish's abdomen. Well, Jonah, he lived in a way. And little Moses was found in a stream. Yeah, Moses was found in a stream. He floated on water till old Pharaoh's daughter, she fished him, she says, from that stream. Wadu, Zimbabwe, oh now water, scallywag, oh yeah. It ain't necessarily so. Yeah, it ain't necessarily so. They tell all you children the devil's a villain, but it ain't necessarily so. To get into heaven, don't snap for a 7, live clean, don't have no fault. Well, I take that gospel whenever it's possible, but with a grain of salt. Methuselah lived 900 years. Methuselah lived 900 years. But who called that living when no, yeah, God gave it to no man who's 900 years? I'm preaching this sermon to show it ain't necessarily so. We all do know where the original melody comes from. This is the one room in which I know everybody knows.
Where?
Baruch et Adonai.
Huh.
Yay!
Yes, you know.
So friends, in 18th century Leipzig, it was customary for churches to perform 58 different cantatas a year. That's like a different Torah reading for each year, each week, and all the special holidays. But anyway, there's one for each Sunday and one for some special holy days. Johann Sebastian Bach wrote 300 cantatas in his lifetime, and 200 of them survive. One of the most famous ones is called in English, because my German's very bad, it's called Heart and Mouth and Deed and Life. See, now my German-speaking friend knows which one I'm talking about. So it's the 10th section of this very long and complicated cantata that makes it so beloved, and that is called Jesus, Joy of Man's Desiring. Now, most people know this melody, or many people do, and the way I found it is, before the High Holidays, I was on Spotify looking for some inspiration, and I was listening to some different Bach, and it was being played by this pianist named Dinu Lipati. Anybody ever hear of him? Yes. Yeah, he died in 1950, and he was 33 years old. Anyway, and he played this version of Jesus, Joy of Man's Desire that it just like totally broke up in my heart. It was amazing. It was like a string that went from like the Shemayim of the Shemayim, like all through to the center of the earth. It was like one. Anyway, and that became my inspiration music for my High Holiday prep, which is probably kind of weird, but so I'll just read you. This is the English translation of the second stanza, which is more relatable to us, I think, than the first stanza. Through the way where hope is guiding, hark what peaceful music rings, where the flock, in thee confiding, drink of joy from deathless springs. Theirs is beauty's fairest pleasure, theirs is wisdom's holiest treasure. Thou dost ever lead thine own in the love of joy unknown. So this arrangement is by my beloved teacher, Seymour Bernstein.